Isabella walked onto the unfamiliar school playground. Her deep-set green eyes were covered with her long, dirty blonde hair, trying to avoid eye contact with the other children. She had been dreading this time since she walked onto the school for the first time. Once she saw everyone disappear into their own recess routine, she knew she would have no one to play with. So Isabella took her dolls and sat down on the grass and began to play by herself. She was then startled when she heard someone scream, "Heads up!" Her dolls were then crushed by a soccer ball. Isabella then stood up quickly, her eyes darkened with anger. "You ruined my dolls!" she screamed at the brown curly-haired girl. She picked up the soccer ball and screamed back, "I told you, heads up!" Isabella tried to reply, but tears rolled down her face instead. "Nicole, pass back the ball!" screamed the other kids playing soccer. Nicole looked at Isabella with concern, and then looked over at the team. She threw the ball towards her team, sat down next to Isabella. She looked at Isabella and said, "My name is Nicole. What's your name?" Isabella tugged on some grass and mumbled, "Isabella." Nicole smiled and started to tug on grass with her. "Okay, cool. I'll call you Bella." From then on, the two girls instantly clicked and became inseparable. Isabella no longer felt like the new girl. She now did everything with Nicole. They would go to the movies, play at the beach, go to the park, climb trees, ride bikes, and even do homework together. They soon grew to become like sisters. They always set aside their differences. Isabella would watch and sometimes even play soccer with Nicole. Even though she was not very athletic, she would try her best to keep up with her best friend. Nicole even sat down her soccer ball once in a while and played dress up and dolls with Bella. They had their favorite secret spot in Isabella's backyard. The backyard became their own escape. It was filled with flowers and trees and a beautiful lake they would swing onto a hot summer day. In one of the many trees in her backyard, the biggest tree of them all, had a ladder leading to a treehouse Isabella's grandfather had built many years ago. At night when Nicole would sleep over Bella's house, they would climb into the treehouse and talk about everything, from mean girls at school to their future wedding plans. Because of their strong friendship, each of their parents grew close as well. While having a random discussion, Isabella mentioned her birthday was coming up. Coincidentally, Nicole's birthday and Bella's birthday were on the same day. For their 10th birthday, Isabella wanted a big party for both of them. She raved about having everything big and bubbly. She wanted a bounce house, ponies, a big cake, lots and lots of pink decorations. She wanted a party fit for the princess she was. On the other hand, Nicole was more of a simple girl. Her parents were not that well off, financially, so even the simplest of parties were good enough for her. Nicole was happy as long as her family and best friends were there to celebrate with her. After Isabella spoke to Nicole with her mom about her idea for the party, Isabella's mom pulled her aside. She sat down and explained to her that they would not be able to do a joint party because Nicole's parents worked really hard and would not be able to afford the party. Isabella's parents were very wealthy and were able to afford many things, while Nicole's parents were always working hard to give their daughter a better life than they have. At a young age, children do not worry about social statuses or how much money a person has. They just value their friendship. The day finally came when the girls turned 10 years old. Isabella woke up to her parents singing happy birthday, holding a heart-shaped chocolate chip pancakes and a nicely wrapped gift. Her parents placed breakfast on the tray in bed and handed her her gift. She unwrapped it excitedly and pulled out a brand new iPad mini. She screamed happily and gave her parents a tight, long hug. Thank you, Isabella said to them. They both kissed her forehead. Anything for you, princess, her dad said with a big smile. Her parents told her happy birthday again and left to work. Nicole woke up to her mom holding a freshly baked cupcake with a little candle and card. Happy birthday, sweetie, her mom giving her a kiss on the cheek. She handed Nicole the cupcake. Make a wish, her mom said with a big smile. Nicole closed her eyes and blew out the candle, making her wish. After Nicole was halfway done eating her mom's famous homemade cupcake, she started opening the birthday card. Your dad wanted to be here when you woke, but he had to leave really early for work, her mom explained, watching Nicole open her card. The front of the card had an image of a big birthday cake with lots of balloons in the background and big letters saying happy birthday. She read the letter written by her dad telling her how much he loved her, how he wished he could spend every minute with her, and that he hopes that she has the best birthday. Nicole closed the card and held it to her chest. She loved her parents so much, and she understood that they sacrificed so much for her, so she was grateful for what she had. After Nicole cleaned her room and got dressed, her mom dropped her off at Isabella's house and then left for work. Isabella and Nicole gave each other a big hug, yelling "Happy birthday" to one another. They started talking excitedly about how much fun they were going to have on their special day. Finally, they went up to Isabella's room and sat down on her big comfy bed. Isabella pulled a small box, wrapped with shiny silver wrapping paper. Nicole smiled and pulled out a slightly bigger box that she had wrapped herself with plain blue paper. They held each other's gifts and hugged each other tightly. Nicole pulled away, looking at the shiny little box in her hand. "I'm sorry if my gift isn't as nice as yours," Nicole said with a shy voice. Isabella tore the wrapping paper, revealing a wooden box decorated with different patterns and colors, and both their names were written in a big, sparkly bubble letters. Isabella grasped at how pretty the detailed box was. "Nicole, it's beautiful!" Isabella then opened the box. Inside were tons of pictures they had taken since they became best friends. Isabella started to tear up. She pulled Nicole into a tight hug, saying "thank you" about 20 times. Isabella wiped her eyes and smiled. "Okay, now open yours." Nicole carefully unwrapped her gift, not wanting to ruin the shiny paper, of course. She pulled out a small white box with fancy letters written on the front. She figured it was from a designer brand that she didn't know. She opened it and pulled out 2 silver bracelets that had the words "Best Friends Forever" engraved on it. Isabella took one and pulled it on her wrist. Isabella took one and put it on her wrist, then took the other and slipped it on Nicole's wrist. Nicole looked down at it. She had never worn something this nice before. Isabella took one off Nicole's hands and looked in her eyes. "Promise we'll be friends forever and always?" she said, and Nicole nodded. "Forever and always." As time went on, the best friends never took off their bracelets. They wore them everywhere they went. Nicole wouldn't even take hers off when she had practice or a game. And when the time came for them to graduate from their middle school, they both got matching charms for their friendship bracelets. The charm was a small silver graduation cap, and from then on, every special occasion they would buy each other a matching charm. After they had graduated, they wanted to have a special trip together before they started high school. So Nicole asked her mom if she could stay with Bella at her family at their beach house for the summer. Nicole's mom had no problem with the idea. Nicole could not wait to spend the whole summer with her best friend. Nicole had never really been on vacation before, since her parents were always too busy working. They never really had much money to go somewhere nice. So the thought of spending a whole summer in the beach made her extremely excited. Bella's beach house was just as luxurious as the house she had back home, except it had a more relaxing and beachy environment. Every morning the girls woke up to a smell of a freshly made breakfast for them in the kitchen. Once they were done eating breakfast, the girls would go to their room, put on their bathing suits, and head straight to the beach, which was basically in their backyard. While at the beach, they would collect seashells, build castles, paddleboard, go kayaking, soak in the sun, and many other beach activities. A few weeks into their beach vacation, Isabella's parents surprised Nicole by inviting her parents to stay for a weekend. Nicole was so happy to see them. Even though she was having the time of her life, she missed them so much. The night at the chef, then that night the chef cooked a special dinner for Bella and Nicole's family to enjoy together. The two families enjoyed fresh lobster and shared many good laughs together. Nicole's parents thanked Bella for taking care of their daughter over the summer. They can work. Nicole's parents thanked Bella for taking care of their daughter over the summer, so they can work and save money to send Nicole to the same high school as Bella. Since Nicole and Bella thought they were going to different high schools because of financial purposes, Nicole's family thought it would be a good time to announce that the two girls, in fact, were going to the same private school together. Nicole and Bella leaped from their seats, hugged each other, screaming with joy. Nicole teared up a bit and walked to her parents, giving them a huge hug. Thank you, thank you. I love you guys so much. Nicole knew how much they had to work, Nicole knew how much they had to work so that they could go to the same school. And she was forever grateful to have such hardworking parents that would do so much to make her happy. The best friends immediately started talking about how much fun school is going to be and about their future plans together. At the end of the summer, the girls were sad to leave the beach house because they had just had the best summer of their lives, but they were excited to start high school together. Once they were back at home, they started to buy school supplies and school uniforms together. A week before school was about to start, they both went to orientation together and received their class schedules. They were sad to see that they only had one class together, which was physical education. Who cares if we don't have class together? We are still going to the same school. Nothing is going to change, Isabella said, smiling to her best friend. They promised that just because they would have not too many classes together, they would still hang out with each other every day and take turns walking to each other's class. It was the night before the first day of school, and the girls slept at Bella's house. They prepared their book bags with all the needed supplies, laid out their uniforms and accessories, and were extremely nervous but excited to enter the new world. What if people don't want to be friends with me? Isabel asked Nicole. Nicole rolled her eyes slightly. Trust me, people are going to want to hang out with you. You're awesome! Nicole and Bella talked about all the school activities and clubs they wanted to join. Nicole talked excitedly about joining the soccer team. After a sleepless night, it was time to go to school. The girls braided each other's hair and helped each other look their best for their first day. Once they were finally arriving to their new school, the girls gathered their belongings and could not wait to get out of the car. When they arrived, they were so scared. They did not know anyone in the entire school except each other. Luckily, their homerooms were right next to each other, so they could hang out until the homeroom bell rang. At lunchtime, the girls found each other and had lunch together. They could not stop talking about all the classes they are taking and how excited they are for the school year. The girls were having the time of their lives and doing well in school. Nicole made JV soccer, and Bella would go to every game, home or away, to support her best friend. Eventually, their freshman year came to an end. The girls were so happy to spend another summer together. They went to Bella's beach house and even invited a few girls that they became friends with over the school year. The girls spent their days on the beach and their nights in the house watching movies and playing games. Sophomore year arrived. Bella and Nicole did not have any classes together. They were sad about this, of course, but they kept their freshman year promise of always sticking together during breaks between classes and sitting together at lunch. One day, after a long day of school, the two girls were at Nicole's house when Nicole's parents got a phone call. Nicole's mom passed the phone to her, and an enormous smile came across her face. What is it? What is it? Asked Bella. Nicole hanging up and shouted, It was my coach. He told me he wants me to be in the varsity team. Bella jumped up and hugged her best friend while congratulating her. Later that night, Bella and Nicole's family took the girls out to celebrate for dinner. Once back in school, Nicole was suddenly always busy with soccer. She had no time to hang out. She was always either at practice or at a game or doing homework after school. Bella understood and would still go to most of the games to support her best friend. Throughout this, Bella and Nicole started drifting into different groups of friends. Nicole was always with her team, and Bella began to associate with the more popular girls. Eventually, the best friends began to slowly drift apart. Seeing that Bella was always surrounded by boys and a girl at her lunch table, Nicole would sit with her soccer team. Bella was too busy with her new friends to go to Nicole's soccer games. One day, while walking down the hall to get to one of her classes, Nicole ran to Bella and one of her new friends, Lauren. Hey, I've missed you. What's up? Nicole asked with a big smile. She looked down and noticed that Bella was no longer wearing their friendship bracelet, and instead a bunch of new expensive bracelets with a really nice watch. Bella, we're going to be late. Lauren, with a slight attitude, glanced at her eyes. Oh man, we'll catch up later, Bella said and walked past Nicole. A few weeks later, Nicole saw that there was an empty seat next to Bella at her lunch table. Nicole took this opportunity to catch up with her best friend. So she sat her tray down next to Bella, and everyone at the table looked at her instantly. Nicole instantly knew she stood out from the rest of them. They were all dressed nicely, with their perfect hair and flashy jewelry and watches. Nicole was dressed plain and simple, with her hair messy in a bun. I'm sorry. Who said you could sit here? Lauren said across the table. Nicole was speechless and had no idea how to answer. She looked over at Bella, hoping she would at least back her up like usually she did for one another. But Bella just looked at her, saying nothing. Tears welled up Nicole's eyes, and nodded, picking up her tray and left the table. She had never felt so hurt in her life. Nicole eventually took off the bracelet off as well. Her parents would constantly ask Bella where was and how was she doing. But Nicole would brush off until eventually just gave up on asking anymore. For the first time since she started high school, Nicole did not spend her summer at Bella's beach house. She saw plenty of pictures Bella and her new friends having so much fun. That summer, Bella also got into a relationship with a boy named Josh. Bella had always said he was cute since freshman year. Nicole always told her that he looked like trouble. Junior year came around and both girls moved into their own lives. Nicole focused on soccer and school, while Bella continued to hang out with the in crowd. Bella constantly threw these huge, elaborate parties at her house, and Nicole would never be invited. They rarely saw each other in the halls, and if they did, happened to walk right by each other. Bella would start talking to her friends, pretending not to see Nicole at all. Nicole had made many friends because of soccer. She became very close to this one guy, in the boys' team named Paul. They were basically as close as Nicole and Bella were back in the day. They did everything together, but they were never romantically involved, more like brother and sister. He was tall and lean, with sun-kissed skin from playing soccer outside so much. He had curly brown hair and stunning green eyes. Paul was an amazing guy, honest and loyal. He could never hurt a person's feeling, even if he tried. People constantly asked Nicole why her and Paul were not in a relationship, and she always shrugged and told them he was just not her type. He was just not her type, and she did not have time for that kind of relationship stuff. Plus, she secretly knew that Paul had a crush on Bella. Nicole would always warn Paul that Bella had a boyfriend, and he was not a part of the same clique as her. But she knew whatever she said would never change his mind. Junior year flew by, and the next thing she knew, it was senior year. The college was just Junior year flew by, and next thing she knew, it was senior year, and college was just right around the corner. The morning of her first day of senior year, Nicole was making her own breakfast when her mom came and sat down at the table to drink her coffee. "So I heard something about Bella," Nicole's mom Nicole's mom said, taking a sip of coffee. Nicole sat down at the table with her peanut butter covered toast. She had not mentioned Bella in her house in forever, so it was strange to hear the name again. "What happened?" Nicole shrugged, taking a bite from her breakfast, pretending not to care. "I'm not sure, but it's bad apparently," her mom said. Nicole finished her breakfast and was picked up by Paul to go to school. Bella woke up in her new, smaller bed, dreading the day ahead of her. She had just moved into her new house, and she hated it. It was so much smaller than her old one. She was still trying to cope with a dramatic change. Since her dad was laid off of work, her life had changed completely. Since her family spent like they were the richest people on earth, they no longer could afford to live in a house that they had before. They could barely afford the new place. Her dad had since been trying to find a new job, but was unsuccessful. And since her mom had never worked a day in her life, she too could not find a job. They had to sell the famous beach house for money. So she had an uneventful summer. She hadn't told any of her friends, not even her boyfriend. Too embarrassed that they would just judge her. Her parents assured her that would still be But her parents assured her that they would still be her friend either way. She refused to have anyone over her house that summer, and instead would just go over her friend's house. Nicole was having a great first day senior year, and was happy to see all her friends again. She was surprised to see that Bella in one of her classes. She was surprised to see Bella in one of her classes. The two girls made eye contact and smiled at each other for the first time in forever. Bella was with her unusual friends as always, but Nicole could tell something was off. A couple of weeks went by, and Nicole could definitely tell something was wrong with Bella. Her friends started leaving her out of things, like sitting with her in class and in lunch. And there was a bunch of rumors going around about Bella that was ridiculous. Nicole wanted to ask her what was wrong, but she felt like it wasn't her place. One weekend after Nicole's team had won a huge game, they went to celebrate. Nicole and her team went to a house party that one of her friends was throwing. Nicole was having a great time dancing and talking to her friends and meeting new people. Nicole was dancing when Paul came over with an angry face. "What's wrong?" Nicole asked him, walking away from the music and dancing. "Lauren and Josh," he said, looking over to a dark corner of the backyard. Nicole looked over and saw the two standing extremely close to each other, and soon enough, they started to kiss. Nicole grasped and immediately started walking over to them. "What are you doing?" Nicole screamed at Josh and Lauren. "You're Bella's best friend. How dare you?" She continued to yell, looking at Lauren. Nicole shifted her glare at Josh. "And you're dating her! How could you cheat on her?" Lauren looked at her with a sneer. Lauren looked at her with a sneer. "What are you going to do about it?" she said with a cocky voice. Josh leaned against the wall with his hands in his pockets. Nicole moved to push Lauren, but Paul grabbed her shoulders and held her back. People at the party began to see what was happening and started gathering around them. Having just arrived, Bella started to push her way through the crowd, hearing that Nicole and Lauren were fighting. When we got to the front of the crowd, she said, Nicole being held back by Paul and Lauren, and Josh standing by each other. "What's going on?" Bella asked, confused. Lauren walked up to her saying, "Nicole is trying to fight me." "She's just jealous that you chose us over her." Josh nodded in agreement. Bella looked over at Nicole and Paul. "I don't understand why you have to bring this all up now." "Don't scream at my friends," she said. Bella opened her eyes. "Josh is cheating on you, Lauren." "Josh is cheating on you with Lauren," Nicole said with pleading eyes, wanting Bella to understand. Bella looked over at Lauren and noticed her makeup was smeared and her hair was slightly messy. She shifted her eyes at Josh and saw his hair was also messy. The two were standing uncomfortably close. "Is it true?" Bella asked with a sad voice. Josh looked at her and didn't say a word. Lauren sighed and leaned against the wall next to Josh. "Things have changed, Bella, ever since your dad got laid off," Lauren said, announcing Bella's secret to the whole party. Tears started to stream down Bella's cheeks and then ran out of the crowd. Nicole shook her head at Lauren and Josh and moved out of the crowd and went after Bella, with Paul tagging along. When Nicole and Paul got out of the party and saw Bella sitting in her car crying, Nicole walked over and tapped on her window. "Can we talk?" Nicole asked and Bella nodded. Unlocking her doors, Nicole climbed into the passenger seat and Bella explained the whole story about her dad losing his job and having to change their way of life. Both girls agreed that they shouldn't talk about this in the car, and they drove to Bella's house. Nicole walked into the unfamiliar house and went into Bella's new room, shocked at how different the house was from her other home. Both girls sat on the bed like they used to do all the time when they were little and began to reminisce. Bella then pulled out the box Nicole had made for her on her 10th birthday, and they started to look at the pictures they had collected over the years. The two girls began to rekindle their friendship, becoming the girls they met the day at recess. Senior year came and went. The two best friends were once again starting a new chapter in their lives. Bella and Paul got into a relationship, as well as Nicole, with the star player in the college soccer team. Wearing their friendship bracelets, Bella and Nicole moved into their new dorm, forever and always, just as they promised each other years before.